The life of this 10-year-old is hanging in the balance due to the negligence of Edinburgh's Sick Kids Hospital. Eva Tennent was supposed to have spinal surgery last September, but her surgery has been postponed 7 times. Her condition is now so severe that her parents fear she will not survive. This became a high-profile case after gaining attention online, but still the public cannot help her as it might be too late now. Do you know why? Let us show you. Eva Tennent's case. Eva is like any other kid in many ways. She loves her toys, enjoys spending time with her family, and has a smile that can light up a room. But Eva's life is not easy. Since she was little, she has been dealing with some serious health problems that make everyday life really hard. Eva has 2 big challenges: Rett syndrome and really bad scoliosis. Rett syndrome is a rare genetic disorder that affects brain development. It mostly affects girls and usually shows up when they are very young. Rett syndrome causes a lot of problems. For example, this disorder leads to severe cognitive and physical impairments, which significantly impact a child's ability to speak, walk, eat, and even breathe. This condition happens because of a mutation in a gene called MECP2. This gene is important for the brain, and when it does not work right, it causes big problems, like disrupting normal neurological and physical development. For Eva, it means she has trouble with things most kids do easily. Kids with Rett syndrome might develop normally at first, but then they start losing skills they already learned. Eva cannot use her hands the way she wants to and has trouble communicating, which is really tough. On top of Rett syndrome, Eva also has severe scoliosis. Normally, our spine is straight in a vertical plane, but when a person's spine deviates to either side of their body, we say the person has scoliosis. Because Eva has this condition, it means her spine curves to the side in a way it shouldn't. A little curve is not usually a big deal, but Eva's curve is really serious. Her spine bends so much that it is causing all sorts of problems for her. When Eva's scoliosis was first noticed, her spine had a curve of about 60 degrees. But things got worse, and now her spine curves 110 degrees. To give you an idea, anything over 40 to 50 degrees is considered pretty bad and often needs surgery to fix. Now you can imagine how severe this case is. Eva's spine's big curve is not just cosmetically problematic for her, it messes with how her body works. The curve squishes her lungs, making it hard for her to breathe. It also puts pressure on her heart and other organs, which can cause even more problems. With time, this curve is only going to increase, which might even lead to death. Even at this point, Eva has a really hard time with everyday things. Walking, sitting, even sleeping comfortably, all these are tough for her. She is in a lot of pain, and it does not go away. Every day is a struggle for Eva. She cannot do many things that other kids can do without thinking. Her mom, Jill Lockhart, takes care of her around the clock. It is a full-time job that takes a lot of love and strength. Eva's family works really hard to make sure she gets everything she needs, but it looks like their struggles and hard work don't matter now. Issues surrounding her surgeon. Eva's journey with her severe scoliosis began a while back. When her mom, Jill, first noticed that Eva's spine looked a bit unusual, she immediately sought medical advice. After a few visits to their local doctors, Eva was referred to Edinburgh's Sick Kids Hospital, where they met Dr. Chris Adams, who is a specialist in pediatric spinal conditions. Dr. Adams diagnosed Eva with advanced scoliosis, a condition that is particularly severe in her case due to her Rett syndrome. Eva was scheduled to have surgery last September. This was supposed to help correct the severe curve in her spine and give her a better quality of life. However, that surgery didn't happen, and it did not happen again and again, getting postponed 7 times. Can you imagine the frustration and fear her family must have felt each time they got the news that the surgery was delayed? The reasons for these delays were varied but consistently troubling. 3 of the cancellations were due to staff shortages. This does not mean that just about one doctor was unavailable. It means multiple doctors were not available, which might have affected multiple patients. In the UK, the National Health Service is known for providing healthcare that is free at the point of use, which is fantastic. But it also means the system can get overwhelmed. Staff shortages and resource constraints are pretty common issues. According to recent reports, the NHS has been struggling with a significant shortage of nurses and doctors. As of late 2023, there were about 43,000 nursing vacancies across the UK. That's a lot of gaps in a lot of hospitals. The pandemic only made things worse. Hospitals have been dealing with increased patient loads, backlogs of surgeries, and of course, the impacts of staff being sick or needing to isolate. Even though the public health emergency due to COVID-19 officially ended on May 11, 2023, it created a domino effect where surgeries are still getting postponed because there simply are not enough people to cover all the shifts and procedures that were postponed during the pandemic. For Eva, these delays were catastrophic. Each postponed surgery meant her spine's curvature got worse. Her scoliosis went from 60.89 degrees to 110 degrees. That's a massive increase and makes her condition even more dangerous and painful. Besides staff shortages, there were also issues with equipment and bed availability. Sometimes, even if the surgeon and team are ready, there might not be an available bed for post-surgery recovery. This seems crazy, but it is a real problem in busy hospitals. To make matters even more complicated, Dr. Chris Adams, the surgeon who was treating Eva, was suspended. This happened right after he met with a BBC journalist and visited Eva in the hospital. The NHS did not provide clear reasons for his suspension, which confused many patients and their families, including Eva's. Dr. Adams was one of only 3 pediatric spinal surgeons in Scotland, so his suspension had a huge impact. Families who had been under his care were suddenly left without answers or alternatives, which caused even more stress and confusion. The delay in Eva's surgery worsened her physical condition, yes, but it also took a toll on her and her family's mental health. Waiting for surgery is hard enough, but having it postponed multiple times is a nightmare. For children like Eva, timely surgery can mean the difference between a life filled with pain and one where they have a chance at normalcy. Eva has not been given this chance yet. To give you an idea of how widespread this issue is, recent NHS data showed that over 7.5 million people were waiting for treatment in the UK alone as of April 2024. Of these, hundreds of thousands are children waiting for important procedures. As expected, these 7 delays complicated Eva's case. The complications. Eva's parents, especially her mother, are devastated. Jill has expressed deep frustration and fear while talking to BBC News. She told BBC News that Eva's scoliosis could have been treated with surgery, but now it has progressed so severely that it threatens her life. In fact, the doctors have told her that the condition is now inoperable. The repeated delays have so much complicated her case. Her respiratory health has deteriorated because the curvature of her spine is putting increased pressure on her internal organs. Jill believes this decline is directly related to the surgical postponements. Eva was scheduled for surgery as recently as March 28, but even that operation was canceled at the last minute. Adding to the family's distress, the suspension of Dr. Chris Adams, Eva's surgeon, has left them without clear answers or a path forward. Dr. Adams had been treating Eva and many other children with spinal conditions at that time. This left not only Eva, but many other young patients and their families in a state of distress. Eva is not the only one. Take the case of Shay Armour, for example. He is a 13-year-old who was also under Dr. Adams' care. Shay suffers from congenital kyphosis scoliosis, which is a condition that causes his spine to bend forward. He had been receiving treatment at Edinburgh's Royal Hospital for Children and Young People and was scheduled for a series of spinal surgeries this year. However, with Dr. Adams' suspension, Shay's treatment plan was abruptly disrupted just like Eva's. Shay's mother, Nicole Armour, was informed by NHS Lothian that Dr. Adams would no longer be available to treat her son. The reason for his suspension was not disclosed even to this family. The hospital left the family in the dark. This lack of communication only made them more stressed and anxious. Without a clear explanation or alternative plan, Shay's family started looking for options. Due to the sudden unavailability of Dr. Adams, Shay was moved to a hospital in Newcastle for a new surgical assessment. This move was emotionally taxing for the family. Shay had built a rapport with Dr. Adams over nearly a decade, and the sudden change left him feeling devastated. Nicole Armour said that the hospital left Shay in limbo. She said that the sudden halt in his surgeries could lead to severe consequences, including the risk of Shay becoming paralyzed from the neck down if there were further delays or mistakes. This is not just the story of Eva and Shay. Hundreds and thousands of children are still waiting for their treatment. The suspension of Dr. Adams has revealed the big problems there are in the UK's healthcare system, especially for kids with tough medical conditions. Eva and Shay's stories are just a couple of examples of how this has hurt young patients. There are probably many other families dealing with the same problems. Trusting healthcare providers is super important for families, and when that trust is broken, it can have really bad effects. Now, Eva's parents are impatiently waiting for the next step. They are desperate for a solution, hoping that another qualified surgeon can take over Eva's care. How do you think Edinburgh Sick Kids Hospital should have handled this situation? Share your opinions with us in the comments below. Before you go, make sure to like, share, and subscribe for more updates. Thanks for watching. Goodbye.